All right. Thank you everyone for coming today. So should we get started? My name is Mahdy, and I like before to start to take a small selfie with my audience. So can I just tweet about selfie with you? Okay. So I'm trying to get everyone's face, but it's a little bit hard, challenging, and I don't have like the best camera ever. But let's try. Okay. So everyone, cheers. Cheers. All right. So this is going to Twitter right now under Java Day hashtag. Awesome. All right. So how is the day so far? Everything is good? Up? Not so good? Good? Perfect. All right. So I know lunch is coming next, so this is going to be the appetizer for lunch. Today I'm going to talk about the Java, the JavaScript, and the future. Anyone attended my session from previous years or previous conferences before about offline first design? Anyone? Okay, two. All right. So for those who attended my session before, maybe you will find the same introduction. And I want to clarify this because my biggest motivation here is mobile. So building for mobile, building for enterprises, and building for the future. So if you find similarity, that's completely intended. So to introduce myself, my name is Mahdy. I work for Vaadin, based in Finland, but I don't look Finnish, I think. Anyway, so any of you hear about Vaadin before? Okay, 5, 6 only? Oh, more people? Okay, that's good. For those of you who didn't hear about Vaadin, I work for Vaadin, which is a framework for building UI using Java. So 100% Java for building your front end and everything. We used to be the #1 framework in the Java world. But today I am probably going to speak a little bit more about the future, not just Vaadin, or maybe I'm not going to mention Vaadin at all today. Today I'm talking about technology in general. So the chart that you're seeing right now in front of you is a little bit old. Everyone know about this chart already, that number of users accessing mobile sites from mobile or websites from mobile exceeded those accessing from desktop. And if you are in the industry, then you have to take an action. Seeing that the number of users coming from mobile make you feel like there is something that you have to do, right? So this is, as I said, this is basically the biggest motivation behind my talk today. But this makes me wonder why people like to access websites from mobile device. If I talk about myself as a developer, for example, most of my time I have to use big screen, I'm using heavy tools, I have a heavy processor, and moreover, I have network connectivity, high-speed broadband connected all the time. So this makes me wonder, how can people do their programming, for example, on a mobile device? Is that even possible? Or maybe making video editors or all those kind of things. How can you do how people like to do that on their daily productivity on mobile devices, while I cannot? So this has to be researched, and the answer is because most of you and myself are content producers. And here by content producers, I don't mean a person who writes documents. I mean any person who produces content on the web, like websites, mobile apps, videos, even pictures, even articles. Any kind of content that is produced, most probably your full-time job requires that you use a laptop all the time. While the other users, who are not content producers, don't really need that all the time. They need Twitter, and they don't really want to go in a subway, for example, and to tweet about something. They want to open their laptop and open the account and connect to network and then tweet. They don't want to do that. They just want to use a mobile device. Actually, statistics show that the number of content producers is this little orange portion. So when you are developing your next application, you need to think, who do you want to access? Who do you want to target? Don't do like us. We at Vaadin, we are a framework producer, so we are targeting developers, right? Anyone here who is not developer? All are developers, right? Anyone here, how many of you is Java developer? Okay. Okay, how many of you is not Java developer? Okay, there is like 5, 6. Okay, let's make this a little bit more statistically. How many of you is Angular developer? Okay, same 5 or 6. Polymer, anyone? One Polymer. Great, great. Have you seen YouTube now? YouTube has converted its interface to be fully written in Polymer. That has to say something. All right. So as you can see, like most of us are developers, and when we are creating framework at Vaadin, we are targeting developers. So we are targeting this little orange portion. But when you are creating an application for enterprise, or when you are creating a website for a vast majority of users, then you probably need to think which audience you need to target. Do you want to make a desktop-only website, or do you want to access mobile users as well? Think about your users as a person that is completely different than you. He doesn't care about technology. He doesn't care about latest trends. He doesn't want to have the latest fully-fledged mobile device and high processor. He doesn't need high-speed internet as well. He just wants something that works, something intuitive, something very fast, something that is not complicated to use. And that is exactly the answer why people prefer to use mobile devices. Because it just works. You can just tweet. You don't have to open a laptop and sit and type. You can just do everything here. And that is basically why you probably should rethink about your strategy of accessing mobile users. They are not just a random user. They are the vast majority of users, and they really love to use mobile devices nowadays. All right. So, back in time, maybe 10 years ago or something like that, we used to have this dilemma of telling people that, hey, we have cloud, now everyone should move to cloud, there should not be any more desktop applications anymore, right? Like, you don't need to have a messenger on the desktop, you just use it online. You don't need to have this application as a desktop and install it. You just use it in the cloud, right? And we used to see a lot of migration over the cloud, and it has a lot of benefits, because it guarantees the unification of all the application. It guarantees the latest version for the users. It guarantees security. It guarantees a lot of things. And also, it's usable from anywhere. So if your user is accessing from this laptop and then next day accessing from another mobile or another device, then they still can use their devices without any issues. So this is the biggest thing why cloud succeeded. We have seen a transition from desktop application, native desktop application, to browser-based application. And nowadays we are also talking about mobile devices that has increased, and a lot of people have started to use mobile devices now. So based on those two factors, how we can see the future? What will happen in the future of mobile devices usage, taking into consideration our recent history of migrating people from using native desktop devices to browser-based applications. Big Trends has shown a lot of statistics regarding this. So people have seen, this is actually a statistics made in 2015, show that on mobile device, 87% of people prefer native applications, and 13% use web-based applications. So all those kind of people, 13% is basically the people that exceeded the number of users using a web application from desktop. So can you see the relation? If you are talking about the number of people who are using a website from from desktop, and the number of users who are using the same website from mobile is exceeding, and this is only 13% of the time, and 87% is coming from native application. This raises a small question. If we're talking about an application like, for example, Google Maps. How many of you use Google Maps? Okay, from browser inside mobile? None. None. Anyone use Google Maps from browser inside mobile? Okay, repeating this question. Anyone use a native Google Map application on desktop? Also none. So can you see the relation? If you are on a desktop, you prefer to use it on browser. But if you are on a mobile, you prefer to use it on native application. Why? I'm going to answer this a little bit later, but I would like to share with you a little bit more statistics. So here we say that 87% of your apps or of your usage is most probably in a native applications, and only 13% is on mobile web applications. But of those 87%, there is an interesting number. It says that those 87%, 80% of them is spent on only 3 applications. Think about it. How many applications do you use? You will find that there is 3 or maximum 5 applications that you are using on a daily basis, and the rest of 200 applications that you have on your mobile device you don't use at all. So what is the chance of, if you create a new native application, that your application will be found? What is the chance that your user will start to use your new native application? There is a very small chance. I think the 3 applications, the top 3 applications, already have saved their place in the top, which is probably Facebook, YouTube, and those WhatsApp, those kind of applications. So they are already dominating the market, and your chance to get into this is a little bit small, right? And the big reason why people prefer to use native application versus web application is shown in this chart. So here on the y-axis I have capabilities. Mobile native applications have a lot of capabilities. They can access native mobile APIs like vibration, notifications, push, geolocation, mobile pay, all those kind of things. While web application has bigger reach. You reach more people because you are always up to date. You don't need to go to App Store and re-update the app all the time, right? You don't need to worry if your user is using the latest application and the latest version or not. You have higher reach because you're not competing with WhatsApp and Facebook all the time. It's just web. Anyone who Google it will find your application. You have higher chance of being find it. But people still don't like to use it, only for small detail, which is lack of capabilities. And that's why big players in the market like Facebook and Google had to research this, had to find how to solve this problem, how to guarantee more reach for users. Before showing you the result, I have one more question for you. If you think about the last month, how many mobile native application you have installed on your device? 2, 1, 4. More numbers? 1. More numbers? So 1, 3, 4. Actually, statistics show that the number of apps installed per month is 0. Think about it. When you buy a new device, you probably start to install a lot of apps, maybe 200 or 300 apps. You didn't count them before, but if you go and count them now, you'll find them between 200 and 300 apps. You installed them once you bought the new mobile device. And after that, your installation rate goes very, very low. You don't install any new apps. You just have them and you keep using them. And moreover, you keep getting updates every day about updating those 200 apps that you are not actually using. So we said that we have only 3 apps that we are using on a daily basis, on 80% of the time, but we still have to update a lot of apps that we are not really caring about. So if we go back to these statistics, probably the solution here can be increasing the capabilities of mobile web apps. Can we do that? Google started first and came up with yet another acronym called PWA. Who heard about PWA before? Only 1? 2? Okay. PWA actually stands for Progressive Web App. Now, who heard about Progressive Web App before? Yes, that makes sense. So Progressive Web App, actually, who came first with this name was Google, but now we see that Facebook, Twitter, Microsoft even, a lot of vendors and a lot of players in the market are adopting this technology. And we got a promise that Apple will do something about it, but let's see. So progressive web apps is now probably the trend, the hype of the nowadays development, because it tries to solve this problem. So what is progressive web app? Many people will think that progressive web app is something like a new framework, a new programming language, something that has to do with JavaScript. And what I have to tell you today is that progressive web app is actually something that you are probably doing every day, you just don't know. If you start to use Service Worker, then you have some of progressive web app features. If you are using push notification, web push APIs, then you're probably using progressive web apps. If you have a manifest on your web application, then also you might be using some of progressive web apps. In my other talk, when I was talking about offline first design, that's one fundamental thing of progressive web apps, and so on. So progressively loading the app is one of the definitions, but also some of the things that you have been using in your app's development, web development, all the time, maybe without even knowing. Progressive web app contains a lot of things that you have to follow and some recommendation and so on. But let me put something here because many people get confused when I say that if you don't follow everything, then you are not progressive web app, which is not correct. Progressive web app, the idea here is try to implement as much as you can. If you have offline first capabilities in your web application, then you are on the right track. If you start to have web notification to engage the users, then also you are on the right track and so on. So what I'm going to do next is to divide progressive web app into 3 fundamental topics and discuss them. And then later on, I'm going to show you how to implement a progressive web app, and especially in Java. So I want to break the myth that progressive web app has to do with JavaScript. No, it's not. We are going to discuss how, for the vast majority of you who are Java developers, how we can do it with Java as well. And for those of you who are not Java developers, well, you have you're gonna see as well that we are also borrowing some of the JavaScript features. So, building a progressive web app. 3 fundamental features. First of all, you need to make your application reliable. How to make it reliable? Basically, when you lose notification, when you lose connectivity, we don't want to show this little tiny cute dinosaur. We want to get rid of it. Think about it that way. Now you have a Twitter app and you are offline, you don't have connectivity, but you open the Twitter app, and once you open it, it tells you oops 404 or oops no connection. What is your feeling about the app? There is something wrong, right? I would appreciate at least when I open the app to see that I have a profile, I have a profile picture, I have the latest tweets, I have the latest messages that were available last time I opened. I understand completely that when I am offline, I cannot use Twitter because it doesn't make sense, right? Twitter is online. But at least show me whatever I was doing last. Tell me a small notification that you are offline, so I cannot give you the latest tweets, but at least I can show you some of the latest things that you have seen previously. Think about the email, for example. How many times you wanted to open your email application when you are offline and you wanted to search for some email or wanted to do some email work when you are offline? It gives way better experience than just opening the app and seeing a small dinosaur telling you, sorry, the app doesn't work when you are offline. So this is one key feature of increasing the reliability of your application. Another point is making your application fast. Statistics, again, showed that 40% of users will stop using your application if it takes too much time to load. And by too much here, we estimated it to be 3 seconds. So if your user opened the application and has to wait, for example, for 5 seconds, he will immediately start to feel bored and start to switch to something else. He will start to feel that the application will waste all his life. Even though 5 seconds may be not too much, but the feeling is that this application is not, again, reliable, and he will start to switch to another thing. Again, think about it as a search engine. For example, flight search engine. If you open an app for searching for flight, and the initial load took a lot of time, what will be your impression? your impression will be, okay, this app is going to really consume all my day, and I will not be able to search, and it will take forever to search for a single flight. What if I want to search for a lot of flights? Then it's gonna like waste a lot of time. But if your app is really fast and you design it from day one to be very, very fast, then this is going to make a big difference. And third of all, regarding progressive web apps, is making it engaging. And engaging consists of three main topics: making the app immersive. By immersive, I mean full screen, theming, orientation, and so on. So, what is the difference between opening an app in the browser and seeing the big address bar on the top, and seeing that the app is very small with a Chrome around it, making it like a bit sluggish to move? Think about Google Maps. If you open Google Maps from Chrome browser, for example, on my mobile device, then it's going to be very sluggish to move, hard to zoom in and zoom out. There is a browser on the top and so on. So all those kind of things will make the experience not great. But if it's full screen, like any native app, and it's very fast, then people will not even think that it's not a native app. Maybe even they will love it more than a native app. Same thing related to theming. We don't want all the application to look the same. Otherwise, it will be boring, right? So you might want to apply your own theme on the whole device, not just the browser level. And the orientation, some users just change the orientation of the mobile device or the tablet. Then you need to respond to this orientation change and have a better display. Or if your app requires a specific orientation, then you also need to specify this clearly, detect the orientation of the device, and clearly communicate to your users that a specific orientation is required. One more thing is home screen. Sometimes your user doesn't want to really go and search online to find your app and start using it. What if he has a shortcut on your home screen? Can we do that without going to App Store or Play Store? This is what we are going to see today. And finally, push notifications. Now I know many of you will tell me, okay, push notification existed since ever. We have push notification on all our mobile devices since a lot of time, right? What I'm talking about here is a new kind of web notification called web notification. What you see here is, on the left side, a notification coming from Air Berlin website without having any Air Berlin application installed on my mobile device. So I went to Air Berlin, I booked a flight, and I closed the application, I closed the website without doing anything, and I automatically got notification about my flight and check-in is ready without installing any application from the App Store. So this is called web notification, and of course it requires some kind of authorization from the user to allow it. So Air Berlin asked me if this website can send me web notification or not, and I said yes, it's okay. And what you see on the right side is something that probably most of you have seen before, some kind of notification coming natively from Google, like about flights or about calendar invitations or calendar notifications and so on. So this has been implemented since a while using Google, and now it's a web standard that anyone can implement in their app. And talking about progressive web apps in general, so here I have the Washington Post website. It was experimenting how to make PWA on their website. And when you open the website enough number of times, you will get this small notification on the bottom telling you, hey, I think you are interested about this website. Do you want to install it on your home screen? Here it says add to home screen, but in future version of Chrome, it's going to be installed to home screen. The text will be installed to home screen. So once you say yes, install to home screen, what will happen is, when you click here, it will give you a small notification that this app has been installed on the home screen, and you will find it actually in your app drawer. So it will be part of your app list without going to App Store at all, without installing at all. And then when you start to run it next time, like after a few days, you just click on this icon, and it will open in a splash screen. as if it's a completely native application. And here is a very important point. If I have an icon on the home screen, and I open this icon, and I get 100% native feeling, and a very fast application that is even faster than a native application, what will be your comparison? Will you say, no, it's a web-based, I don't like to use it? Or will you say, like, okay, this is, most of you, the user will think, okay, I don't care about the technology behind it, I feel like this is perfect, and this works perfectly, then they will continue to use it. So back here, after getting this splash screen, you see that the app loads fully on the full screen. And one more thing you can notice here, that the upper part here has been colored with the app theme. So they decided to color even the Chrome of the whole mobile devices with their own theme. And this is applicable. Now, if you go down and open the app drawer to compare the apps, you'll find that this is a completely standalone app. It's not running inside Google Chrome. It's not running inside any browser. It's a completely standalone app. And you can see that Google Chrome is running somewhere else, and this app is running completely standalone. So this is the whole thing about PWA. Now, a good question would be, is it required to make this, to add to home screen and load from home screen and so on? Actually, the answer is no. This is just a feature of PWA. It's not 100% required, it's just an added extra. So now let's think about as a user, not as a developer. Think about, for example, when you shop for something. You want to eat pizza, for example. So you go search for pizza, you find a good restaurant around you, you open the website of this restaurant, and then the first thing the restaurant is telling you, please install my mobile app to be able to order pizza. What will be your feeling? Okay, and now I have to go to Play Store, and then install the app, and then create an account, and then register, and then sign up, and then sign in, and then open, and then search, and then order the pizza, and then get the pizza, and then go to App Store again, and then uninstall the app. Too much work. Probably you will not wait for that much. It's too much, right? So now think about it some other way. You search for pizza, you find a progressive web app ready, web application found on your browser that loads very fast, that is immersive, that takes the full screen, that takes the theming and gives you a native feeling. You just go and sign up with your already existing credentials saved in your browser, and then sign in, and then order pizza right away. And then when you are done, you just close the tab. It's gone. Now think about it one more time about, for example, stores like Amazon or Souk or all those kind of CRM stores or something like that. Now think about it like in, for example, ordering a taxi. Think about it in many websites or apps that we are using on daily basis. Think about it like on booking websites. Think about it on hotel booking websites. Many websites and apps that don't really require to have native applications because user will be very upset to go and wait half an hour to download the app if it's big a little bit and then sign in and so on, while they can just open it progressively on the mobile device. So this is the whole idea. I want pizza, so the first iteration is that I want a website that shows pizzas. So that's the first progress. The second progress, I want to order pizza. So progressively, the app will understand that I want to sign in and order. Maybe I don't even need to sign in. I just need to provide my credit card and order. So progressively, part of the application will start to download to my browser, but not necessarily download 20 or 30 or even 50 megabytes of data just to order a pizza and then I install it later on. So this is about progressive web app. And I have one more thing, how to practically test if you have a good application that is working for your users without any issues. First of all is adapting mobile-first design. When I say mobile-first, it means that you are a developer developing on desktop, right? Anyone developing on mobile? Like you're writing code on mobile? Okay, so yeah, nobody write code on mobile. Everyone write code, or most of us write code on laptop. And that's why automatically we think about testing on desktop. Let's kill this. Stop doing that. when you want to test on mobile first. This is mobile first. Test on your mobile. Don't forget that you have a web browser, forget that you have a desktop, just test on mobile. The progress of this is that when you are iterating from day one and making sure that your application works best on mobile, then automatically it works on desktop as well. Any applications that work on mobile will work on desktop, but not vice versa, right? So if it works on desktop, you will have little issues to increase the performance, remove some feature, squeeze it, make it good on mobile device, and so on. So this is my first strategy. The second strategy is offline first design. Offline first design is also to make sure that your application works offline. And the same thing, make sure that your application works without internet. So you are developing web application, you don't necessarily have to have internet connectivity when developing it. Think all the time that this application should be working offline all the time. Can you do that? And I have one third strategy which called coffee first design. Actually, I came up with this list, and the coffee first design is basically giving your tester a cup of coffee and a mobile device on the other hand, and ask your user if he will be able to use your application all the time without having to squeeze and drop the cup of coffee on his mobile device. So this is a good test. Think about it, it's serious. Think about it. Can your user do everything on your mobile application with one thumb? He doesn't need to use the other hand, he doesn't need to squeeze, he doesn't need to zoom, he doesn't need to click on the wrong link and then zoom and click on the right link. Do you have touch first design? Do you have enough room for all the clickable links and everything? So this is my practical list that I recommend that you follow. And what I'm going to do next is basically, I'm going to show you some demo on how to get started with building progressive web app. Any questions so far? Actually, I was told that I have some tickets. So let's make a small competition when we are talking. If you're awake and can follow up to my questions quickly, then you will get some kitab. Yes. All right. This is my blog post about how to create progressive web app. And as I promised you, today I'm not going to just talk about yet another progressive web app. I'm going to talk about how to make progressive web app, especially in Java. For those of you who are not Java developers, this is more or less the same steps. I'm just here focusing more on Java. I'm going to give you the link for this blog post later if you are interested. But quickly, this post is quite detailed. It shows you all the aspects of progressive web apps, how to get started, what are the essential steps, and how to do it, especially in Java. So you can watch the video up there, or just follow this. And also, I have an open source project over here. People in the back, can you see the font, or is it too small? Awesome. Okay, so this is my GitHub handle. Under my GitHub handle, there is Java-PWA. If you search for this project, you're going to find my test or my demo project that is showing how to do that. And the interesting part about this project is that I have detailed steps, 10 steps, on how to do it step by step. So step number 0, just start an app. And step number 1, how to merge it with another app. And step number 3, how to start to add service worker, and so on and so forth. So what I have for you today, instead of coding on stage, which is a little bit boring and hard to follow, I prepared for you those steps already. And what I'm going to do is go over those steps, showing you the git diff, the diff between all the previous steps, to show what I progressively added to the app to make it more progressive web app. So here at the beginning, this is step number 0, simple Vaadin application. Since I come from Vaadin, then it's a little bit obvious to use a Vaadin application. But more or less, if you are using any other Java framework, then you're going to have the same aspects. So here I started with Vaadin application, 100% Java application for building front end. And then I used this tool called Lighthouse. Anyone heard about Lighthouse before? So Lighthouse is an extension on Chrome that allows you to test a lot of good things in your web development, like the performance, the latency, and so on. And it's designed specially to test if your application matches the PWA features. So here, when I started, I tested how much my Java-based application or Vaadin-based application matches PWA, and I got a very, very bad score, 22. And then this extension actually gives me a lot of useful comments. It tells me that I don't have a service worker, and when I am offline, the app does not respond. It gives me or no connectivity when I'm offline. It tells me that it's very slow to load the application, and so on. There is a huge list of issues that explains why I got this very low score. Now, before I get started, I also started another application that is JavaScript-based application, specially designed to be PWA. This project and many other similar projects are available on GitHub that shows you how to create a simple template application that is PWA. I selected this one, I created this one, and the score that I got from it is 88. So a quick comparison, my Java application is 22, my JavaScript PWA template is 88. So the idea here is that I'm going to steal the code. Yes, I'm going to steal, right? So instead of reinventing the wheel, instead of writing everything from scratches, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the features, why this application is so successful, and I'm going to take those features and merge them inside my Java application. The idea here is to learn how to do that, but later on, I will either have a checklist how to do that later on with any other Java application, or at least I will have an archetype or a demo application to start with. Whenever I want to start a PWA application, I will just grab this application and build on top of it. Right? Just one more thing I want to mention why the score here is 88, not 100%. And the reason is that, okay, it's not mentioned here, but the reason is that I was running on localhost without HTTPS. One of the important things about it, PWA is that your web application must run on secure SSL. All right? So the first steps that I did is adding JavaScript responsible about registering the service worker. So I found that in my demo application that there is this app.js file responsible. I just copied it as it is without any modification. I placed it inside my Vaadin application, and then I registered it using this annotation. So on top of my Java class, I added an annotation. This is supported in Vaadin, but you can do it with any other way. I said that please include this JavaScript file inside my project. And when I tested the application, I found it inside my head. So far so good. I have the JavaScript that is responsible about registering the service worker. Next step is to actually add the service worker. So add the service worker. And here, there is an important thing about service worker, which is a service worker must be located in the root of your application. It cannot be under JavaScript folder. It cannot be under resources folder. Why? Because of something called scoping. The service worker, you can think about it as an installer for your app, but online. So this installer, the scope of this installer look up all files located on the same directory and sub-directories. So if you place it under resources folder, then it's gonna look up only everything under resources folder. It cannot look up on HTML files located behind that folder. That's why I had to make an extra step, extra effort to basically say that whenever you get a request looking for sw.js, this is why I used Apache comments, then I made a small hack, and this is probably the hardest part. A small hack, whenever you get stream of SW, when you get a request of SW.js, then map this into the local file that I have that is called sw.js. So just get this stream and push it out to the web server. And this is basically everything, and then I added the sw.js. The step after that is I updated the cache. So the original application had some caching like index.html and so on, but in my Java application I don't have any HTML files, so I modified the files. I also mapped to the new Vaadin based paths, included app.js and so on. I also added the Vaadin icon instead of the default icon. The step after that is I also decided to include manifest. And manifest file is a magic file responsible about adding icon to the home screen, changing theme, changing app color, and so on. So this is a very interesting file. I'm calling it a magic file because it just consists of some JSON formatted text like short name, display, theme, and so on. You just give it a bunch of variables and it automatically, the browser will do the rest of the magic. And then I figured out that I need to add some other tags like viewport and theme color and so on. All those tags, I figured them out, not by myself or by searching online, I figured them out from the Lighthouse report. The Lighthouse report told me, please add a viewport, please add a theme color, and so on. So I decided to add them as well. So at this point, I have the application getting a very interesting score. I can show it to you, which is 86. So at this point, I got this score 86. If you compare it with the original score of 22, then I made a huge progress. Now I have 100% written Java application that is progressible application as well. But some of you will tell me that it's not 88, which is also true because I still have small tweaks to be made. By nature of a Vaadin application, it's by default made for testing, not for production. That's why I had to turn off the production mode. Turn on the production mode, made it true. And also I had to make some compression and so on. And finally, to make this application meaningful, I just added a table and some data to display some data instead of just displaying an empty text box. And I'm gonna switch back to the results. So here's the result. This is the application, how it would look like if I just created without PWA. And this is the same application after creating it with PWA features. From the first glance, you will think that, okay, the difference is that you have viewport here, right? Actually, no. There is here an address bar that doesn't exist here. There is here a theme color that doesn't exist here. So here I managed to change the theme color, I managed to hide the address bar, and moreover, actually this application loaded from home screen. So I have an icon on the home screen. When I create on it, it creates, actually this is swapped, it should be the other way around. But anyway, so I have here the splash screen, and then loading, and then here is the application. And when I go to the app drawer, you'll find that it's a standalone application, different than Chrome. So, big success. I have PWA application written in Java. So if we go back to our question, how future look like? Can you see this text actually? Okay, so how the future look like? The answer is mobile web is the near future. So similarly, we can distinguish this from our near history when we saw that cloud applications is dominating. We can easily predict that web application written in the PWA format will take over the near future. So, I actually I'm running a little bit out of time, but I wanted to show very, very quickly that one more thing that help you develop a PWA is using web components. We are talking about the near future and so on. So check it out. Check out what is web components, why we are using web components. Actually, we at Vaadin decided also to change our GWT-based components to make them web components. So those components that you see in front of you are fully open source, Apache 2.0 licensed components to change the idea of using old style HTML5. If some of you is still learning HTML5, it's time to stop and look at web components. They are very easy to use, just one tag to have them. And those components, the big news is that they are available for any developer, even if you are not a Java developer. So you can use it with Angular, Polymer, React, or basically any JavaScript framework that supports web components. So that's basically what I have for you. I just want to show you one last thing over here in my code, which is the last step number 9, skip waiting. So as I've been saying, the service worker, you can think about it as an installer in your browser. This is the installer required to install your application first time and required to update your application. So every time there is an update, every time the server detects that there is an updated service worker, you need to take an action and update the application. If the application is still running on the background or still running on another tab in the browser, then it will never update. That's why I added an extra step here called skip waiting. I'm ordering the service worker to skip waiting and overtake the current client that is currently using the old service worker and apply the new service worker. So check it out. Again, my GitHub project is over here. It has all the steps that you might be interested in checking. Actually, this project is active project that I keep updating. If you have any thoughts, if you want to see the future of this, how I'm gonna change this, I can tell you a sneak peek about 2 things that I'm gonna do here. First of all, I'm gonna make it an archetype so that you can have it with Maven, command line, install it quickly. And second thing is to make this grid, replace this grid with an actually offline first design grid from another project that I've been developing. So if you are interested, you can watch this project, or if you are interested to join me in the development of this project, then you are very welcome. So all links and everything that I have discussed today is available in this last slide. Any questions? No questions? Again, any questions? All right. So maybe I can run. Any question? Yeah, please go ahead.
Should we consider web assembly for the?
Sorry, can?
Should we consider web assembly?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well, on top of my head, I think WebAssembly will help in accelerating the load of the application. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So yeah, it can actually be a very good thinking of using WebAssembly if you know that your user browser supports that. That's an interesting thing that you can consider, and it doesn't conflict with anything. So here, all the time I'm talking about Java, WebAssembly, JavaScript. All the concepts are the same. You just need to know how to implement them, how to use them in the application. More questions? So maybe I can ask a question. Can we use web components with Angular 2? Anyone using Angular 2 here? Can we use web components with Angular 2? Can we use web components with Angular 3?
There is no Angular 2.
Sorry?
There is no
Not yet? So do you think in the near future in Angular 3 there will be web components? Anyone?
Yes.
Okay, any other opinion? No, there isn't. It will be Angular 4 actually. Okay, anyway, anyone want to ask any question, I'll be available after the session. So thank you so much for attending and enjoy the rest of the conference. You can have the